Hi friends, David here from Above AVL, and in this video we want to talk about choosing a PA system for a small church. Let's dive in. Okay, so the first thing we get to do is define what is a small church and how do you choose a PA system for it. So I would say a small church is anything in that, sub 200, but especially sub 100 people range. This is the space where, depending on the style of worship, you may have a really simple audio system or you might have something that's a little bit more complex. Okay, so the first thing we look at are the basic parts of a sound system, which if you're not familiar, you're basically going to have speakers. Okay. These are some speakers behind us, right? You're going to have amplifiers that may be built into the speakers in the case of active speakers. Okay. You are going to then have wiring, right? Cables between the speakers and the amplifiers, as well as this, which is a microphone cable between your mixer. That's the next component, your amplifiers or speakers, and your input sources, which are going to be microphones, which are going to be things called DI boxes that get things like computers and keyboards into your system as well. Okay. Last, you're of course going to have stands and accessories. You're going to have things like microphone stands. If it's portable, you might have speaker stands, etc. Other parts of the mix that you might have, especially in larger spaces, though not as much in these small spaces, are things like a system processor or DSP. Though in a lot of small spaces, it may not be necessary cost-wise, and cost-wise might make sense to skip. Okay, so the next question is, okay, what type of speaker or speakers should I get? And this is probably the part, especially on the front end, when you're putting in a system or deciding on a system for a small church, that you want to spend the most time thinking about and understanding. Okay. Because choosing the right speaker is not just about choosing a good speaker, it's choosing something that makes sense in your space, whether it be portable or whether it actually be installed permanently in that space. And there's two main things that are going to decide what speakers you choose in your space. Okay. The first is going to be, simply put, the size or the geometry of the space, right? Where can we place the speakers? Where do they need to point? What kind of space, how many people do they need to cover? And where are they, right? Is it a long and narrow room? Is it a wide room? Is it a fan shaped room? All of these things are going to play into choosing the right speaker along with the content, right? Obviously, in any church, spoken word is incredibly important, right? Being able to hear that preaching is going to be key. But in a lot of churches, having the music heard really well is going to be key as well. Okay. And so choosing a speaker and possibly acoustic treatment to go with it, that and speakers that fit your space well, is going to be one of those things. If you spend time on it, you'll have something that you love, that you don't overspend for, that serves you really well for, I mean, honestly, 20 plus years you can get out of a good speaker system. 15, 20 years, even more. Depends how hard you push it, depends how much use you put on it, depends on how good of a speaker it is. But a lot of times you can get that much time out of a good speaker. It's one of the longest running, one of the oldest components of your system that can last the longest. And it's also really key to get that right. Okay. To find the angle of coverage that works well in your space, something that's loud enough to cover and cover well, and then placing it in a good spot. Now, that's either going to be permanent in a lot of situations, or it might be portable if you are a portable setup, or just don't have the money to fully install something at this time. And we can always talk about that. Talk about, okay, is there something we can get that you can not fully install, but will fit your needs in this building later? Sometimes that works out. So speakers, going to be the biggest thing. Next, you're going to have subs. If you're doing full band, you're probably going to want a sub or multiple subs in your space to play back the low frequency content so that the bass and the kick drum are heard and felt, not overly, not overdone, but felt within your space for your congregation. Okay. Once you figure out the speakers you need, okay, a lot of times it's going to be either a passive or an active speaker. But a lot of the times it's going to be a standalone speaker, not really often a combo unit with a mixer built in for a couple reasons. While these combo units with mixers can be really great, you have to run them from stage typically or from pretty close by with like a Bluetooth connection. A lot of times in a church scenario, you're going to want to have a separate mixer in the back of the room. And for everything except the most simple situations, you're going to want to go with a digital mixer. And we have a lot of recommendations for good quality stuff that's going to last you and is going to do an excellent job. Okay. Digital mixers, though they can feel a little bit overwhelming as first, have a lot of things going for them. Number one is you can get a professional in there to help you get started and save in some presets to help your volunteers run things from week to week. You can go back to that preset every week and load it so you're starting fresh with those really good settings. And then you also have additional tools that an analog console wouldn't have to make everything sound better and get everything going to the right place. So, getting sound to your speakers, getting sound to stage monitors if you have those or in ears. Okay, another part of the system to think about when you're choosing for a church. And then also like your live stream, right? So to have the sound going all those different places, the right sounds in the right place, a lot of times, more often than not, it just makes sense to go digital. There's just enough tools in there that are going to make your life so much better that it's worth the learning curve. And today's consoles are easier than ever before. Okay, so talked about speakers, maybe speakers and amplifiers if it's a passive speaker. Okay, a lot of times permanently installed speakers are passive, but not always. Okay, cabling to your mixer, and then into your mixer, you're going to have microphones. You're going to have DI boxes for things like keyboards, for things like acoustic guitars, for things like your slides computer, a lot of times. Okay. Those will all come in via DI boxes into your mixer. Okay. And of course, using more microphone cable. Those are going to be the basic things to put together a PA system for a small church. Choosing the things is always the hardest part. And that's where we come in to help. At Above AVL, not only do we have pre-built packages with, basic, good set of speakers that's going to be quality and last you for the long term over a few different quality levels, but what we would love to do even more than have you look at the packages is shoot us an email at gear@aboveavl.com. We love to help people every day look at your space, recommend the right thing for you, and help you get it into your hands. Get you stuff that's not going to die in a year or two and cause you problems, but that's going to last you really well over the long haul and help you get everything you need to put in your hands and then bundle it with education from our academy so that you can use it the absolute best you can. It's really a win-win situation where we help you get everything you need. Plus, our support folks are there for you. If you have questions, if you're putting things together, you're not sure what to do, we can help you via email. We can add on calls, Zoom calls if we need to, etc., to help you be able to get the most out of everything you purchase so that you're not just buying something and being like, oh, well, that was kind of a waste, but you've got something that you can use and make use of in your day-to-day church services. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys in our next video. And of course, whenever you need any gear, audio, video, lighting, come talk to us at aboveavl.com. We're really like an old school folks that love to talk, love to converse via email, find you exactly what you need and help you get it into your hands. If that resonates with you, we would love to serve you long term. We'll see you guys in our next video and of course at aboveavl.com. Thanks.